And welcome back to another episode of Trey on Stage. It's always great to have you guys with me here. Today, I'm going to be talking about fears, things like stage fright, things like basically when you're getting on stage, you're about to do your performance, and what happens, but you just get kind of stuck. You kind of freeze. You get a little bit worried about it. And I know I touched base on this in the past about performance anxiety. And I'm getting a little bit more into it when it comes to specifically stage fright. And performance anxiety is a little bit different than the stage fright, because the stage fright is mostly like you can perform in front of your friends. You have no performance anxiety, but you do have an issue with performing specifically on stage, especially if you want your performance to be conveyed appropriately. You're going to have to kind of work your way through it. So I'm going to talk about that today and help you get over it, help everybody kind of get over it. Shoot, help myself get over it, because I get it too. I guess like just a little story. There are times when I'm in front of my family and I'm talking and I'm telling the joke in front of my family, and I'm able to convey the joke very well. I say the joke really funny. My family laughs and everybody laughs at it, and it's a great joke. But then I will just get on the stage and I can't do it. I can't perform the joke like I perform the joke with my family. It's just, it's not working for some reason. I get locked up, or I get scared, or I get worried that my performance isn't going well. And this is all a part of performance anxiety, but it's also specifically for me just simply being on stage. So what is stage fright, right? Stage fright is where you're in front of the whole crowd and you're on the stage specifically, and being that center of attention affects you from being able to perform, being able to actually let out that performance in that way. Now, the reason why stage fright is so debilitating, especially for people like us in the performing arts and stand-up comedy, is because you have to make your performance believable. And if you're incapable of making your performance believable, then not only are you not going to be funny, but you're not going to be able to portray the character that you are in the best way possible. So you have to really work through that, and you have to get over it. So like, what does it feel like? It feels like, now I'm speaking personally for myself, what it feels like is that I sort of get locked up and I'm unable to portray my character. I get worried about how people are perceiving me and whether or not they're perceiving me correctly. And I get worried about whether or not I'm actually being funny as it pertains to stand-up comedy. I have had some stage fright in my past with plays and things, but what makes it easier is learning your lines, learning your craft, learning where you should be. That's what makes it easier, and I'll go over that in just a minute. Overcoming stage fright is incredibly important in what we do, because we're entertainers, and everybody knows the saying of the show must go on. And that's exactly right. The show must go on. And even though you're having a hard time, you still have to put on the performance. And as a stand-up comedian, especially as a new stand-up comedian, you're going to be out there and you're going to be volunteering yourself to go out and put yourself in front of an entire crowd. So you have to maintain your composure. You have to maintain your performance. And you have to be outgoing and really like give it that gusto for your performance. So what are your goals, right? You have to think about your goals when it comes to this. And the reason why is because your goals are going to play a big part in the way that you're affected by your fears. If you know your goals, this is a part of the preparation process of being able to overcome the fear, because you'll have these goals in mind. For example, do you want to become better on stage? Do you want to become more open, more theatrical? Do you want to sort of work on your writing to where just your words and you simply standing there conveys well? Like, is that what your goals are? My personal goal is that I want my jokes to be so smooth that I am almost, it's just second nature. Like I'm just talking to you right now. It's sort of, I take maybe a thought, or maybe I take a second to hear people laugh or something like that. But I want my thought process to remain completely uninhibited by my performance. You know what I mean? Like I want my performance and my words that I've written, I want them to coexist within one another. So I think that where I usually struggle sometimes is that I think that I have issues with the judgment process. I feel like people are judging me, and I feel like people are judging my performance negatively. And because of that, sometimes it will create a more locked up version of myself. And this is how my fear can affect my performance. It will inhibit me being outgoing. It will inhibit me speaking well. I'll get shy. I'll get in. I'll break in. You know what I mean? Like this is what I mean by locked up. I won't move because I'll just be this sort of this shell stuck in my fear. So I push through these fears in various different exercises. The ways that I do it is I really focus on remaining calm. That's my number one thing. Right before I get up on stage, I will maybe take a breath. I will maybe take about 10 seconds, maybe even 5 seconds, and I'll just kind of take one deep breath and just remain calm, focus on my writing, focus on my preparation, and push through those fears. Never underestimate the power of a deep breath. Sometimes just stopping for a moment and thinking and collecting your thoughts. In the stage, it might seem like this is going to be something that is taking forever. But in reality, it's not even taking a second. Just take a moment, breathe, work through that. And it's just like anything, just remain calm. The reason why preparation is so important is because preparation will help you overcome any kind of performance anxiety, or when you're on stage, it will help you overcome that stage fright. Preparation is so important because that's how you remain focused. It's learning your lines. It's like if you're doing a play and you have lines. The only difference between stand-up comedy and plays and things like that is that unless you're doing a monologue in a play, you're just up there on your own in stand-up. So you have to rely on your own self. That's where the preparation comes in. Work on your performance at home. Perform at home like you want to perform on stage. Perform at home like, think about the way that you perform in front of your friends and your family. Think about how natural you are in doing that. And then try to convey that into your performance alone. And then try to perform like you're alone. Perform in front of your family. And then after performing in front of your family, get up on that stage and perform like you're in front of your family. I know that everybody's heard the thing like, well, if you're up on stage, what helps if you envision everybody naked? That doesn't help. For me personally, it could help you. It doesn't help me because then I'm just sitting around trying to find people who are naked. It's just kind of weird. It doesn't really work well for me. But what does work well for me is when I think about my family. If I think about, okay, the only people out in the crowd right now are just my family. And that's something that really helps me out. Preparation and memorizing your lines can stop your stage fright, because if you know everything that you have to say, everything that you have to do, if you know it all, then you're going to be able to perform to the best of your ability because you're only going to be locked into your lines. You're not even going to be thinking about the crowd because you're going to be so in your lines. practicing with family and friends is extremely important because it gives you a very positive, judgmental crowd. Your family can go ahead and give you feedback. Oh, that joke's not funny. That joke doesn't really work well. That's not really something that I would say, and it helps you hone your craft. So practicing alone, practicing in front of your family, and just getting prepared with those lines. Getting prepared, putting yourself out there, getting those things out there, and overcoming performing in front of people is how you're going to go ahead and get past that stage fright. One of the things that I like to do too is I like to kind of get loose. And I talked about this in one of my other podcasts when it came to performance anxieties. I like to get loose. I like to kind of open up, stretch, like all that kind of thing. I like to just really just get like nice and loose, open up, feel good, feel the rhythm, feel me, feel yourself, because you have to have that confidence. You have to have that love, that self-love to get up there and portray yourself as being the best thing in the world, because that's what you got to do in comedy. It's a confidence thing. It's a special kind of confidence thing that you have to have. You have to have confidence in your ability, and you have to have confidence in your jokes. You got to say your jokes like they're the funniest thing in the world. Look, there's always going to be a crowd that doesn't laugh, but there's always going to be a crowd that does laugh too. Sometimes some people are just not meant to do this. Sometimes I think that I'm not meant to do this, right? And there's that anxiety. But I have had laughs. And so people don't just sit there and stare at me, And if they don't laugh, what I do is I go back and I rework the joke. I try it again. If they don't laugh again, I rework the joke and I try it again. I repeat the process. So, to recap, get loose, focus on your lines, focus on speaking clearly, focus on projecting your lines, and remember your lines. Memorize what you need to perform. So perform on your own, perform in front of your family, and perform in front of your family like you're performing on your own. And try to bring that to the stage. Try to breathe. Remember to breathe. Remember to get loose. And it's important. It's very, very important that you maintain your goals and you express the passion that you have for stand-up or the passion that you have for performing on stage. Have fun, because if you have fun, it will reflect in your performance. All of this is great. It's you selling you. It's you coming out. It's your soul that you're showing to people. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you for tuning in if you've made it this far. I really appreciate you. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you soon on another episode of Trey on Stage.